What is up, Watch fam, and welcome to Rant&h. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and on Mondays I do a little bit of a rant. I kind of pick something that I've been thinking about a lot this week, or even like really passionately once, and I just kind of talk about it. So quick wristwatch check before we get into it. Today I'm wearing a really magnificent vintage Omega. It's an electronic watch. For frequency, tuning fork, and all that stuff. You can check out the details all about it tomorrow on theoharris.com. We're doing a new upload of like 7 or 8 watches, so check it out. I just love the case on this, the fat bevels. I don't know. I just think it's super cool. So check it out at theoharris.com tomorrow. But now let's get into my rant. I get so many emails of people asking me how much money they should spend on watches that I barely even believe it. I get a lot of emails, people always trying to say, okay, this is kind of my budget. They don't tell me their salary usually. You know, I don't get that kind of information usually. Not always, but usually. But people try to like feel me out what I think is acceptable for people to be, spending on their grail or their next pickup. And I kind of want to just answer publicly what my answer is for almost everybody. Like, that question is really for you, and you shouldn't be asking anyone else. I think that the only thing, people could do for you in that situation, well, mostly people are going to encourage you to do like a real bad thing, that you just shouldn't do. Watches are great. I mean, I love watches. I probably spend more money on watches for myself than probably like any other thing. So believe me, I'm not like this outsider that doesn't get how people spend so much money, thousands of dollars on watches, because I do get it. I 100% understand why. You just want to own it. I mean, sometimes, especially in vintage, it's a special example that you may not get the opportunity to own again, or you may not get the chance to just like pick it up. And once that one goes, it's somebody else's forever. And I get that there's a pressure there. There's like this imminence. Like, I have to do it now, or I'm never gonna be able to do it. And I've fallen victim to it several times. It's happened. But I've never like hurt myself while doing it. I've never like really hurt my current financial like strength or weakness at the time by doing it. It just never. You really need to like just check yourself and understand what you can afford. And I know this is obvious, like, it's a layout. Thanks, Christian, for speaking the obvious bullshit. People are always emailing me about this, so I think it is relevant that I talk about this for a second. Spending too much money on a watch can really hurt you. It can really hurt your family, especially if you do have a family. You're 23, or you're 24, or you're 35, or you're 42. Like, whatever it is, if you just don't really like have that kind of money to blow on something, whether that is $2,000 or $15,000, I mean, don't let Instagram pressure you into doing it, because it's horse. I mean, like, like on Theo and Harris, what I'll do is, like, I'll do payment plan a lot. Like, I'll talk to people. Like, I just worked out one last week, and the guy could 100% afford the watch, like, without doubt. He could totally afford it. But, he was like, okay, could we do it over the course of 2 months? And I was like, yeah, no, done, handshake, over. But that guy wasn't, like, hurting himself by springing for it, and that's the big difference. If you're kind of, like, springing for $2,000, don't even consider 5. Just don't do it. And yet everyone can always find the cash somewhere, whether that's through like APR financing on eBay, or whether that's through a dealer. They're going to give you, 12.99%, whatever the they're going to do. Even if it's a good deal, it's always a bad deal, because that thing on your wrist, that watch on your wrist, really doesn't mean enough for, at least in my opinion, this is my very humble opinion, it does not mean enough for you to like halt your life to pay for it. At least it's never meant that much to me. And I love watches. I really am passionate about watches, but I would never like halt my life, for, to buy really almost anything for myself. It's a little ridiculous, apart from maybe a house or whatever, but I just think that people need to like be a little bit more confident in what they have, and they have is good. Everything I'm saying right now it's not true. It's not like, like a law. It's just all kind of, made up and me on the fly. But it is really important to me that you guys, who I've become friends with a lot of you, like, that's why I'm taking it more seriously than anything else, because a lot of us are like, buddies now. We email back and forth, and I really don't want you to feel, at, like I said, 18, 28, 32, like inadequate to people on Instagram, people on YouTube that are buying datagraphs, and they're buying, Paul Newman's, they're buying this, they're buying that, because this doesn't matter. Like, they're not you, like, they're them. And some of them can easily afford it, and good for them, but a lot of them, and trust me, like, I know so many people that do this, they just can't afford it. It's hard for me to even imagine what I do know about people and what they'll do to their own finances throughout the year to buy a fucking watch. And I think it's a little ridiculous. I think the priority's a little messed up. But that's it. I have no problem with you guys saving up, or anyone saving up to buy something they want. Like, total respect. I totally get it. But don't like have this like claustrophobic pressure, like the world's closing in, like so many of you I know do have that feeling, that unless you buy this date, you're just not cutting it. You're not a collector enough, or you're not, the speedy is essential, and you only have a sub and a date just. Like, no, it's not essential. Like, yeah, you can pick it up in a year or two, like when it's okay, but like don't be pressured by outside, like I said, Instagram, YouTube bullshit about your collection. Take a step back, really enjoy what you have. That's kind of the point here more than anything else. It's not numeric, it's just enjoy what you have. When you can afford to pick something else up, do it. Don't back out early and pick out, buy something cheap to hold you over. That's not the good answer either. Be happy with what you have, and that's it. And like I said, this is very relevant to so many people. So I hope that someone out there is watching this and says like, okay, like cool, I'm still a watch geek even though I don't have a Royal Oak. And the answer is yes. Like you definitely, like if you're even considering these things in your head, you're a watch geek, my son. I mean, these things are all luxuries. If you have, one vintage Tissot that's worth $400, I mean, that's a luxury, and you're lucky that you can afford that. And you really are. Like statistically, we're all lucky that we can. Like I'm wearing, an Omega right now. That's like it's worth almost $1,000. I mean, that's a ridiculous thing if you take a step back and look at it from like a global perspective, right? And it's not mine. It's for the shop. But the truth is, like, we should all just be a little bit happier with the things that we can afford right now. And that doesn't mean like give up and stop working overtime and all that shit, but do not fall into this peer pressure, high school, my house is cooler than yours bullshit. It's a waste of your time. Status pressures and who has more and who spends more. I mean, it's just a rabbit hole. I mean, it's a total disaster. There's nothing productive that comes out of it. I mean, it's really, really destructive to a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that I'm close with. It's an inadequacy, or it's like a lack of confidence, or whatever it is. But believe me, you should all feel like I do, really proud when you walk into a room when guys are wearing Royal Oaks and solid gold day-dates and Patek's with my little Omega Seamaster, because it's not a pissing contest. It's not a pissing contest if you don't play. Like, let everyone else piss away, but don't get involved in that shit, because ultimately, no matter how rich you are, there is always someone richer. That's just, no matter how good of a year you had, someone always had a better year. And to put all of your personal stock into playing that pissing contest and inevitably losing, it's a disaster waiting to happen. So that's it. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I hope that everyone takes a step back and enjoys their collection today, even if it's just for a minute. Thank you guys for watching Rant&h. I know it wasn't so much coherent today. It wasn't really a point like about the industry, but I think that I think it needed to be kind of said a little bit, and that's it. I'm not trying to prove anything to you guys. I'm just trying to let you know, or at least some of you know, if there are 3 people out there that watch this that said, like I said before, that kind of like meant something to them, that means a lot to me. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.